We are live. What's good, everybody? Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling? Whew. Happy Thursday, man. We're here. Today's show is gonna be pretty quick, pretty, you know what I mean, pretty matter of fact. It's open and shut kind of stuff, man. Not a whole lot to discuss, but enough. It is enough to discuss, like what's going on over here in America, bro. And I tell you what, it is. Whew, I tell you, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome. Did I really want to know podcast, y'all? Get some, everybody. What's good? I hope y'all doing all right. Things are going the way they're going. Sorry, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm seriously late this time. 27 minutes, that's late for me, but lot going on. Lot going on. We got like 15 days until our big show on the 22nd. So it's like a lot of stuff going on. We're definitely in crunch time getting stuff together. My business partner, he's the number one guy. He makes the decisions, and it's my job to support him and make sure our stuff is done. So he made some decisions, and he's just doing his thing. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's, I'm just constantly reminding, like, hey, we got this, we need this. What about that? Reach out here. It is what it is. That's just how it works. So that's why I was a little bit late, just kind of putting out some fires. Today, this topic was my man Jay Swan sent me this, and we talked about this. We were talking for a couple hours about this topic right here, which is man, I need to start recording our conversations or something, man. Them conversations be fire, y'all. Fire. You know what I mean? So Brother Dino's in the building. What's good, fam? Yeah, Brother Dino's like, DL, don't they need citizen papers first? It's going to get crazy, both the election. Hey man, yeah, this is the extreme religious, anti-choice. They don't, the algorithm doesn't like the A word. So the people who are anti-deletion, anti-choice, they've been fighting this forever. So when Roe v. Wade fell and the states are left to determine, those rights or lack thereof, this is how we get all these things. And what we're gonna read, man, is so political, bro. So political. It's like, have you visited Kentucky, DL? I am from Cincinnati. Cincinnati is in Ohio. I'm from Southern Ohio. Kentucky and Ohio are border states. So yes, sir. I've been all through Kentucky. I've been all through. In fact, the greatest Cincinnati area, like if you were to ever fly into Cincinnati, if you fly into the Cincinnati Airport, CVG, it's in Kentucky. It's the greatest Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky airport. It's in Kentucky. So when people get off the plane, like, oh, I'm finally in Cincinnati, like, nah, you still ain't there. You got about 20-minute drive to get to Cincinnati. So yeah, bro, like Newport, Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, and Cincinnati are just kind of like, man, bro, it's really like another neighborhood. Even though they have their own law enforcement, their own laws or whatever, people from Cincinnati go back and forth over the bridge. The Ohio Bridge separates the two states, and you just kind of go over the bridge into Kentucky and whatever. There's so much going on. So crazy. Brother Smeebles is in the building. He's talking about happy Friday. Bro. Happy Thursday. We ain't hit Friday yet over here. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. But what's good, bro? Good to see you. Good. Always a pleasure to see you. Hope all is well. Man, let's just jump right into it. This article, this is Associated Press, right? This is out of Frankfort, Kentucky. And this is about this new bill that that Kentucky is proposing. And bro, let's get into it. Lawmakers in Kentucky advanced a bill Tuesday that would grant the right to collect child support from unborn children, reflecting a broader effort in some Republican-led states to push legislation conferring a fetus with the same rights as a person. So again, this is all about in America prior to, overturning Roe v. Wade, women had the right to choose her body, her choice. Men, unfortunately, no reproductive rights. So once Roe v. Wade was overturned and those decisions were, deferred to the states, states are starting to do what they want to do, and this is their way of defeating the choice. Now, before we get into this, I want to be transparent. Because people always ask me where I stand on this, and me and Jay Swans had a long conversation today because he was trying to figure out, hey, bro, where do you stand on this when it comes to, deletion? And I like that term, the A word, but we're gonna say, deletion. To me, that's murder. There's no other way to put it. That's what it is. You are stopping a life. Now, it's legal. It was legal, and it's still quasi legal in America. Certain states is legal. Certain states there are more restrictions. It is what it is. If it were up to me, if DL Saint was the guy that says that this is legal, this is illegal, I would make it illegal. I would make it illegal. And people are like, oh, so you're pro-life. It's like, I understand what it is. That's a termination of a life. There's no other way to dress it up. Now, of course, when you get into the weeds, when people get assaulted, and when you have medical issues, and all those other things come into play, I understand that. But if we were just saying, hey man, zeros and ones here, where do you stand? I look at it like for what it is. It's you're stopping a life. Right. So, but the argument comes then afterwards. Like, so, okay, so it is legal. You can't stop it. It's legal. What's your stance on that? My stance is that if it's the law of the land, men should also be given a choice. That's it. Like the way that the law is interpreted should reflect in such a way that men also have some sort of choice. How did uh Dave Chappelle put it? Her body, her choice, as well as his choice. I believe in that. Now, of course, you can't have half a baby. So the ultimate choice lies with women. But in America, like, you can have a child in America, you be a woman, have a kid. After the baby gets here 3 or 4 months, you decide this isn't for you. You can offer the child up for adoption, and you're out of the picture. The mom's out of the picture. She's not forced to be financially responsible, or at least for half, because she gave the child up for adoption. They're like, well, why can't the man have the same choice? So that's where I get into the phrase. Like, well, no, there should be choices. I understand you can't, the ultimate choice should be the woman, but beyond that, there should be some different choices for men. We've talked about this before on this platform. There was a case in America where a woman had a child, left the states, had a father who was more than willing to father his child, had the financial means to do so, and also had a family to support. But the mom took the child to a different state, gave the child up to an adoption agency. The child was in the process of being adopted, and right before the legal paperwork could be signed, the father was able to track his child down and was able to get his child from the foster family, or the would-be adoptive family. And even then, he had trouble getting his child. And I think the law of the land should be, if a woman is going to give her child up for adoption, the first right of refusal should go to dad. Um, and then if he says, I don't want the responsibilities, and then you go to the agency or whatever. But here in America, that's not the case. You know what I mean? Brother Cody's Kings in the building. He's like, that should be criminal. It should be. It should be criminal. And so should paternity fraud. That should be criminal, but it's not in America. It's not criminal. So women do that all the time. Right. And Brother Cody's King, I agree with you. Father needs at least the same rights to the fullest extent possible. I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. Like, what are we doing here? But men get painted in such a way that, like, oh, we're irresponsible. We don't want anything to do with it, blah, 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 blah. No one asked. You know, even if the law were the guy could exercise his right, Kevin Samuels used to talk about this all the time. It would be like a legal uh, choice where a guy could legally sign away his rights and walk away, and there's no financial responsibility, anything like that. It would just be his choice. And people say, well, if that were the case, then men would always walk away and they would just, knock up these poor women or whatever. I wonder if that's the case. I know a lot of men, like the story I just told you, man, he had to go across America to track down his child, to get his child and to fight to get his kid. The man was like an engineer or something. Like he was, financially stable, had came from a great family, and was the woman was running, took the child. And like Cody said, it should be illegal. But maybe these things will happen moving forward. Maybe there will be some changes. Not in the near future, right? Not in the near future. So getting back to the article, the measure would allow a parent to seek child support up to a year after giving birth to cover pregnancy expenses. The bill won approval from the Senate Families and Children's Committee, sending the proposal to the full Senate. It was the first vote on the legislation, which was introduced in mid-January and referred to the committee more than a month ago. Republicans have supermajorities in the Kentucky Senate and House. So this is gonna go right through. This is gonna go right through. If I'm not mistaken, the sitting governor in Kentucky, I think, is a Democrat. But with the supermajority, it doesn't matter. Even if the governor were to try to veto this, it would be overridden by this, by the state Congress. But I don't know. I mean, I don't see why the governor would try to stop it. It's crazy. Like it's crazy. So the measure will allow a parent to seek child support for the 9 months of the pregnancy. I haven't had time to read the entire bill, so I don't know if it's 100% reimbursement or if it's just 50% reimbursement. I have no idea. This is crazy. It continues. Kentucky is among at least 6 states where lawmakers have proposed measures similar to a Georgia law that allows child support to be sought back to conception. Georgia also allows prospective parents to claim its income tax deduction for dependent children before birth. Utah enacted a pregnancy tax break last year, and variations of those measures are before lawmakers in at least 4 other states. Man, my thing on this, okay. It makes sense if everything were fair and equitable. This would make sense. Yeah, it costs money to have a child. And I can't say most states, but in California, they already factor it in. So when you're going before the family court, they will ask mom to bring in all related expenses and they factor all that in. My thing is, I don't believe that there are any provisions in this particular law or proposal or any of the other 6 states that they're talking about that has an option for the guy to request a DNA test. Can we at least determine who the father is? So this thing is just gonna, I mean, how does it work? You go and say, hey, he's the dad, and they just immediately start hitting this guy up for money, it without even proving that he's the dad. So, and this particular bill says that it's retroactive. So the child's already here, but okay, we're going to establish child support for day one, like the baby got here, but now we want to tack on another 9 months of child support or some sort of support to help pay for the birthing costs and, whatever else. I mean, I don't know how wide ranging this is. I don't know if they're going to be able to say, hey, she lost $10,000 of income from work because she had to take off to have the baby. So you owe 5,000, you owe half of that. So you owe 5,000 plus you owe whatever was spent prenatal care, would that be thrown in there? You owe half of that. And then the pregnancy and all that, okay, you owe half of that. How far does it go? I don't know. You know what I mean, brother Dino? A frozen embryo could get child support forever. That's another thing that they're doing with these for the IVF stuff and the frozen embryos. You can be charged as a doctor if you destroy one of those embryos. So as you're trying to, fertilize and try to get it fertilized, so a woman, she's frozen her eggs and she's trying to conceive. There's some states that say, I think it's Alabama, if you destroy some of those frozen fetuses or whatever, they could charge you with murder or uh manslaughter or something like that. So this thing is like really, you want to talk about off the rails. And look, brother, brother Cody's like, we about to all start identifying as pregnant. Hey, just to get that bread, brother, brother Smeebles. My issue with this is that there needs to be some way to prove it is his child and not Chad up the road. Facts. There are some states out there, Tennessee being one of them, where they're making it mandatory DNA testing for couples who are not married. And I think you can request DNA testing if you think you may not be the father. So it's out there. Brothers Cody is like, yeah, man, we all birthing persons now. That's the truth. Brother Pitney's in the building. What's good, man? This is a terrible idea. If the mother fails to report, a miscarriage to the state for 3 or more months, would the father be reimbursed? Probably not. That's a good point. I have my doubts that this will be well executed. It won't be well executed, bro. This is an attempt just to get, a lot of people argue this is an attempt to entice, people to have kids. You know what I mean? Just, hey, you're going to get paid for it kind of thing. This is a knock at those who are pro-choice. Because it is what it is. But you're right, man. And my thing is, let's say, all right, they say, hey, you're the dad, you owe 9 months birthing costs and whatnot. And then you manage to get yourself a DNA test and the test proves that you're not the father. Will you be reimbursed? I don't think so. And it's certainly not addressed in the law. Brother Cody, don't forget, Jules, in some states, they can delete after birth even 9 months. So yeah, that could be interesting. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy out here, bro. Mandatory paternity testing, regardless of marital status, needs to be put into place. Yeah, simultaneously. I agree with you there, bro. That's Brother Pitney. I agree with you 100%, man. 100%. I agree with you there. We just live in an era where you just don't know. And we have the science, we have the ability to determine that. They didn't have this, 60, 70, well, I guess 70 years ago or whatever. They didn't have this. And this is why they wanted virgins and all the rest of it. Now we can prove it. 99.99999% certainty. This should be standard. And even if the man, say you got you a simpleton who's like, no, I love her, and there's no way that she was with anyone else. Okay, make him sign a waiver. Make him sign a waiver that says, hey, we gave you the opportunity to get this testing done right now, and you said no. So don't come to us later if you find out 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road that you are not the biological father. Don't come to us, trying to file suit against her because she lied to you. We're giving you the opportunity right now to go out and get this test done just to be sure. Why wouldn't you do it? It's just a quick swab. Everybody gets swabbed. Boom. You run the test. Of course, you can't do it till the baby gets here. They can do it while the baby is still in the stomach, but it's very dangerous from what I understand. Brother Cody's like, sad but true, bro. Brother Cody continues, I am concerned of them trying to take away parents' ownership. Yeah, man, government shouldn't be doing that. Government wants ownership of children. There's a lot of people who say that. A lot of tinfoil hatters are talking about that now, but it is starting to seep over into the more accepted mainstream because it seems like that. The government is already daddy, right? The government is out there being the enforcer, being the protector. It is what it is. Now, think about government. Think about these laws is, you got to get involved. I tell young men all the time, bro, y'all got to get involved. Y'all have to get involved. You have to go out here and talk to people who are running for these offices. You have to find out where they stand. You got to get to know them, figure it out, because they run a game. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. You got to figure it out for real. You need to elect people in America. You need to elect people to office that has values or they have an agenda that's aligned with you. So if men don't like these type laws, then you need to elect folks into office that are going to fight these type of laws, these type of proposals. That's what they should be doing in Kentucky and Alabama. And, men should be doing this from sea to shining sea. So, I mean, it is what it is. The article continues. A recent Alabama Supreme Court ruling that frozen embryos are legally protected children spotlighted the anti-deletion movement long-standing goal of giving embryos and fetuses legal and constitutional protections on par with those of the people carrying them. So there it is right there. That was Alabama. And if you have a frozen embryo or something like that and you destroy that embryo, bro, you destroy that sample, they can charge you. They can charge you, bro. Which is crazy. Crazy. In Kentucky, Republican State Senator Whitney Westerfield, a staunch deletion opponent, is sponsoring the legislation. It's Senate Bill 110 that will allow child support to be applied retroactively to cover a fetus. That child is a human life, Westerfield told the committee, and the support obligation begins as soon as the life begins. And I think we ought to be able to go after that. I mean, here's the thing, bro. Like if the laws were equitable and made sense, this makes sense. I would not fight this. This is logical to me. However, we know the laws aren't equitable. There should be some changes along with this. I mean, it's really easy to do too. Again, this is why it's so important to elect folks who can critically think and have common sense, and they're out here on some sort of religious quest. Like, all right, if you want to do this, all right, you guys want to do this, you guys want to go out here and, collect child support retroactively for the 9 months that your child was, incubating in the mom's stomach, fine. But we better make sure we get the right dad, right? We better protect the dad. The baby's here, we can do DNA tests. The DNA test should be mandatory. Mandatory. And if the guy's in fact the father, okay, this is the rule. Right. I still believe that men should get a choice. Women have a choice. Like I said, women can, after a few months, decide they don't want to be mom anymore, give the child up to an agency. I think they should shore that up, give the man first right of refusal. Hey, mom's going to walk away. And the thing with that, like, you have a woman who's going to give her child up for adoption. She gives her child up for adoption. Fine. Right. Let's say that she gives a child to dad. They're not married, never been married. One night stand was a hookup, whatever. She thought she could handle the responsibility. She can't. She's like, okay, here you go, dad. You're the father. I'm out of the picture. I'm gone. Bye. Legally, unless I'm wrong, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but legally, she cannot be hit up for child support. I think that's the case. Please tell me out there if I'm wrong. But I know, I feel absolutely certain that if she just gives a child up to an agency, that she certainly doesn't have to pay child support for that child. Why is it men can't get the same option, get the same choice? That's just, this is what I mean. Like, if we shore this thing up and it makes sense, this right here makes sense to me. If you want to go ahead and do it and say, we're going to, hey, dad, you got to pay for 50%, of this, the 9 months that she carried the child, you got to pay for 50% of that. Okay, fine. But let's make sure that is in fact dad. I'm gonna put you guys on mute for a second. Yeah, my daughter bought some fire, whatever, instant fire from the grocery store, man. It smells bad, but she likes it. But the article continues. That child is a human life, Westerfield told the committee, and the support obligation begins as soon as that life begins. And I think we ought to be able to go after that. I read that already, but you see here, this is the broader battle between the right to choose and the right to life. This is the broader battle. This is what they're doing. The bill was amended by the committee to only apply to child support ordered within a year after birth, setting a strict time limit for seeking a court order dating back to the time of conception. They had to add this. They were trying to push it through without this caveat to the law. So they want to add that. So basically, you have up to 12 months to get some paperwork on file with the court stating you want to get money for the 9 months that you carried the child. So if it's 12 months in one day, then it times out and you can't get it. And you certainly can't wait till the child is 16 and be like, oh, I need that 9 months with interest, which is probably what they were trying to push through at the very beginning. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Brother Pitney's talking to Brother Cody. I have no doubt in my mind some woman will collect support for 8 months, then terminate the pregnancy at the last minute. It'll be a new hustle. I think the way they're trying to avoid that is you have to wait till the child is born, because it says, well, you know what? The amendment to the bill says to only apply child. Let me see. Let me read this. The bill was amended by the committee to only apply the child support ordered within a year after birth, setting a strict time limit for seeking a court order dating back. So you might be right, bro. You might be able to, the moment you find out like you're pregnant, you might be able to go into the family court system and say, hey, I'm pregnant and I need help. And Joe Blow over there is the dad. I don't have his address, but here's his Instagram, here's his phone number. And somehow they track back Joe Blow, and yeah. By the time the child is 6 months old, he's already paid the 9 months of support. And like you said, or even in that case, like, he's paying for 8 months and then she decides I can't handle this anymore or have some sort of reason. Because they make it real restrictive in these states to terminate. So, but you're right though, man. There's definitely ways to work the system here. These things are never really thought out. And people are gonna be looking for ways to get over. That's the American way, right? But I agree with you though, Brother Pitney. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. There's gonna be some sort of hustle. And Cody even agrees with you. It's like sad but true. Cody's like, I am concerned of them trying to take away parents' ownership. Man, he says that again. And it might come to that, bro. Government wants ownership of children. Like I said, the tinfoil hat people are talking about that a lot, but you look at these laws and you look at the way things are moving, the government is getting more and more involved. Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? He's like, bro, what? It's like, that's a new level of hustle. Shaking my head, and he's talking to Brother Pitney. Dr. B was like, they really want men to have zero advantage after conception, like ever. Bro, hey, man. My thing is, why not just extend the choices to both genders to the fullest extent possible? I understand, like I keep saying, I understand you can't have one half of a baby. I get that. I truly do. But once the choice has been made to have a child, the other gender should be allowed some sort of choice. The thing is, Republicans want to remove the choice completely. They want to outlaw, the ability to terminate a pregnancy. They want to outlaw it. That's what the Republicans are trying to do. And not all the Republicans either, because I'm talking about the fringe, the extreme Republicans. Most Americans, Republican and Democrat, most moderate Americans, they agree with the choice with limits. They don't like, partial birth stuff. They don't like the late term stuff. They agree with the early term stuff. They agree there should be limitations with the choice. They also agree that, in the case of the assaults or in the case of medical, and like the pregnancy, like if a woman might not survive the pregnancy, it should be her choice. Like most Americans are on board with that. These Republicans are out on the island on their own, and what and especially in this election year, it's just like they're doing everything they can to lose this national election coming up in November. But bro, it's crazy. Brother Cody is king. There isn't any need for child support until near both anyway, when the woman shouldn't be working just to be ready. So silly trying to extract more money from dudes for make believe purposes. That's a good point, bro. I didn't even think about it like that because it's here in America, and it's probably the same in Canada. But here in America, most women they'll work while they're pregnant, man. They'll work up until the third trimester and sit down. I remember at one of the gentleman clubs I used to go to, one of my favorite bartenders, man, like she was pregnant, and I mean, she worked up until 3 weeks before she had the baby, 2 weeks before she had the baby. And we're talking about this is at a gentleman's club, bro. She was big as a blimp, beautiful woman. I mean, she bounced back, man. Like call her Elastigirl or something, man. She bounced back. She's a very beautiful woman, very cool. Has husband, and it's their first baby, and she's really cool. I mean, she's working where she works. But man, she worked up until like 2 or 3 weeks. I could ask her. I'm still cool with her. I can ask her like, well, you know what I mean? But she worked right up to the last second. So Cody has a point. So it's like, all right, if she wasn't in a relationship, if she didn't have a husband, if she could have worked all that time, really didn't lose anything, and have insurance and still get half the money back, at least half the money through this 9-month thing. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, if everything else were fair, and I hate to use the word fair because life ain't fair, but if everything else made sense, then I would be 100% on board with this. Like, okay, fine. Do you have insurance? Okay, I got insurance. You got insurance. It's just a matter of having the insurance work it out anyway. All right, I paid my copay. You know what I mean? It cost me, $20, $50 to have a baby. Let's say I'm with a HMO or something like that. Or you got Blue Cross or something like that. So, okay, this is what I pay. So what are you paying? All right. Your insurance will work to absorb the cost. And then my insurance could pay the other cost or whatever. I mean, and then in the cases where no one has insurance, mom in that case is probably going to get some sort of assistance from the state government or from the federal government or maybe some private entities. She's going to get assistance. The guy's not going to qualify for any assistance. So, how's that work? Well, he has to pay 50%. Mom didn't have to pay a dime. So he's paying the other half. So we're just going to extract this extra 9 months of stuff and then go into his child support. And he's a brokey. Dude's working at the restaurant dropping fries, or he's like the dishwasher at the local, greasy spoon. His child support is going to be what? $10 a week? $40 a month? So the most expensive part of the whole ordeal for him would be paying his half, of the birthing cost. Obviously, these people didn't think this through, man. This is just, again, they're just fighting. They're just fighting the right to choose people. You know what I mean? And again, if you ask me what it is, when you exercise your right to terminate that pregnancy, that is no different than dispatching somebody on the battlefield, man. You're ending a life. That's my take on this. You're ending a life, but the law of the land states what it states. And, whatever state you in, if you in New York or California, you have the rights to do this. There's not a lot of restrictions. If you're in, Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, there's going to be way more restrictions involved. It's terrible. I think America needs to come to terms on it. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to do it or not? Zeros and ones. Either it's legal or it's not. What are we going to do? I'm going to put it to a vote. Just put it to a vote to every single American. We can count every vote. If it's that important, every single American must decide. And put it to a vote, or just do what we've been doing. You just have to elect people who are going to follow or whatever. It's just crazy. Brother Cody, she doesn't need to be in the hospital all that time. Nah, she doesn't, bro. Sometimes, most of the time they don't, man. It doesn't take long. Not to mention most jobs offer maternity leave. Yeah, but good ones do. They offer maternity leave. So it's just another way to extract, you know what I mean, to extract money from dudes, bro. The article continues. So if there's not a child support order until the child's 8, this isn't going to apply, Westerfield said. Even at a year and a day, this doesn't apply. It's only for orders that are in place within a year of the child's birth. So basically, women are going to be encouraged and probably through counseling told like, well, hey, even if you don't know if you want child support or not, just file this form. And at least that gives you an option to ask for this later. You know, like, okay, you might not want child support all the time, but you just need help for the birthing costs. File this form within 12 months of, you know, the baby getting here. And then you'll be eligible for this, you know, for this benefit or whatever. It is what it is. Some deletion right advocates Kentucky express concerns about the bill afterward. Right, this type of bill sets the stage for personhood, right? So, and these are the people who are for choice. And this person, Tamara Wilder, the Kentucky State Director for Planned Parenthood Alliance Advocates, she says that SB 110 is a slippery slope, one that leads us into the same direction as the Alabama court ruling. Instead of trying to push the idea of personhood via child support, this legislation should instead look at supporting pregnant people through expanded insurance, paid leave, or any number of options that might provide more inclusive benefits. Well, she has a point there. One potential obstacle for the Kentucky bill is an additional expense that county attorneys would incur to enforce child support orders applying to the unborn. In such cases, prosecutors could not use federal funding and typically rely on to cover expenses related to child support enforcement. Wow. So that's a good point there as well. They're going to have to modify the federal law in order to have access to funds that they rely on for the family court system in the first place. So since they can't get these funds, you're going to have to charge more money. Man, it's a money trap, bro. Like I said, people don't think this stuff through, bro. This is a money grab. This is a money grab. Brother Cody, they don't want to saying it like taking a life deal. It will discourage women, so they like to pretend its life is like a rock or a bacterial culture. That's a fact, bro. And I said that to me and Jay Swans was talking, and I mentioned that too. Like, people don't want to talk about it the way it really is. Like, if you know, walking into one of those clinics to have this procedure done is the same as, you know, being on the battlefield in, you know, the Middle East for the United States Army, or being on that battlefield, Russia, Ukraine, or being in Gaza, and someone puts a 5.56 through your brain, or you step on an IED, or, you know what I mean, some artillery falls on you. You get deleted either way. You know, and I mean, when I had this conversation with folks, I'm like, it is what it is. And you're right. People don't want to. I think Americans have gotten so comfortable with, well, it's not a human, it's just this. Therefore, it's nah, man. Nah, man. When I talk to those people, I'm like, look, go watch Bill Burr live in Red Rocks. He talks about this. He talks about, he uses it's a bit about the cake in the oven, the cake in the oven bit. You should watch it. It's amazing. It's amazing. But you're right. It is easier when you dehumanize something to get rid of it. Right? It's what they did. That's what the Nazis did in World War II. You know, with the Jews, and when they did it with the people who had special needs and political dissidents. They looked at them as less than. That's what they did with my ancestors who were slaves. You know, 3/4. You know what I mean? We're 3/4 men. Like, we weren't real men. You know what I mean? We weren't human. It's easier. Like, we're subhuman, so it's easier to do the things that they did to us. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You have to you know, every war, both sides dehumanize the other side to make it easier for them to mow them down. And I think that's what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, whatever we're going to do as a society is what we're going to do. If it's legal, it's legal. If it's not, it's not. But let's do something. Quit dancing around this thing. Let's quit dancing around it. And if we're going to make it legal, then we need to make choices available for both genders. That's my stance on it. That's my stance. If we're going to make it legal, then there should be choices for both genders, not just one or the other. That's my take on it. You know what I mean? Let me know if y'all think I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Brother Cody continues, society likes to pretend like we don't have legal murder. We sure do. When really there are many ways. Facts, bro. Facts. Facts. It is what it is. My thing is, I just face the facts. Just face what you're doing. Face what you're doing, bro. Audie Murphy, you know what I mean? Congressional Medal of Honor winner, an actor, right? American icon, little bitty dude, short dude in Europe. He won the Congressional Medal of Honor, standing on top of a burning tank and holding off, you know what I mean, in a German advance, all by himself. All by himself, just standing there manning a 50 caliber machine gun, covering the retreat of his unit, and, you know, expecting the tank that he was standing on to blow up at any moment, but he was just there mowing them down, doing his thing, right? We gave him the highest medal in the country for what he did. It was a brave act, but, you know, that's legal murder. And you know what I mean? Man, one of the greatest Americans our country ever produced. Sergeant York's another one, man. Like, you go in the Army, when you're in the United States Army and you're waiting in like the, you know, like sick call, you some of the buildings or whatever, on the walls, they'll have stories of Congressional Medal of Honor winners. They'll have stories of different battles. And you just sitting around there reading them. It's like, man, we got some brave Americans, man. But their sacrifice is real. You know what I mean? They did what they did and they're no longer here. They sacrificed themselves. They gave their lives. And then when you go into these clinics, when people go in, you know, a woman go in, it's 2, and she comes out 1, you know, a life was terminated, bro. It is what it is. But if we're going to have it, if it's going to be legal, fine. Let's make it legal. Let's put the rules on the books, and let's make it as equitable as possible for both genders. I mean, it is what it is. That's my take on it. Brother Pitney, funny thing is, they found a bacterial culture in outer space. They screamed from the hilltops that they found life on another planet. I haven't seen that, bro. I've seen a bunch of stuff on YouTube that I don't know if it's true. They're talking about that big rock, that flat rock. That's a Hawaiian name. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. It's one of those Hawaiian names that my mouth just won't even spit out. But the daggone rock went past Earth, and now they say it's on its way back, and they say it's going to impact Earth in 2 weeks. And then it's one of those space, you know, YouTube channels. I think it's clickbait, but I don't know, bro. You know what I mean? That's another question people ask, like, do you think there's life out there? Like, what, in the universe? Yeah, absolutely. I think there's more life in the galaxy. I don't think that humans are the only thinking beings that, you know, ever existed or ever will exist. Nah, I think they're out there. Will we find them and communicate with them? I don't know. They say that the James Webb Space Telescope took pictures of another planet, and it detected artificial lights on the planet. So I mean, it is what it is. I know, you know, I know that's a little bit different than what we're talking about. Not to change the subject, but it is what it is. Brother Cody's like, I know, but I meant like the clump of cells argument. That's it, Brother Pitney. And Brother Pitney like, yeah, I know, I was joking with you. So, you know, even though we got a real serious conversation here, we can still, you know, we can keep it light. Brother Smith was, even during World War II, there were pharmaceutical companies that used the fact Nazi Germany dehumanized people so much, they asked for free test subjects, and they were ended from testing new medications. Yeah, bro. Absolutely, bro. I mean, it's horrible, horrific. That's one day we could talk about that one of these days. You know, the medical advancements that came out of World War II, and the atrocities. You know, George H.W. Bush was shot down during World War II. Man, he survived. He bailed out, landed in the water. An American submarine picked him up. I don't know if you guys know the story or not, but he finished the tour with the submarine, became part of their crew, got back to San Francisco. And instead of going home, he had permission to go home to see his family. He jumped on the first ship that's going back out to his aircraft carrier so he could rejoin his unit, his squadron. And he did all that, right? So he wasn't a single fighter pilot. Like he was in uh I think he was like a torpedo or a torpedo bomber or something like that, maybe an Avenger. But anyway, it was a 3-man crew. One of the crew members on the flight that day was a buddy he grew up with. So he bailed when they all bailed out. He landed in the water. The other 2 landed on land, got captured by the Japanese, and they were killed by the Japanese and eaten by the Japanese. Right? George H.W. Bush never knew what happened to his buddy and to his other crewmate on that flight. You know, when they got shot down on that bombing run, he just never knew. One day he's sitting in the White House as president of the United States. Some paperwork comes across his desk that talked about that fateful day. And he discovered then what happened to his 2 buddies. And he discovered not only were they captured by the Japanese, tortured, but they were eaten by the Japanese. You know, classified stuff. He's president of the United States. He found that stuff out. Wow. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Wow. When I saw that, I was just blown away. And Brother Cody's like, yeah, the city lights story. Yeah, they're saying there's city lights out there. They're saying that they found it, which would have been, I don't know how many light years away that is. So I don't know how many years back in the future we were seeing those lights. But it's crazy, Brother Cody. Who knows? Maybe we already expanded to other planets. That's a fact, bro. We might already be involved in some sort of intergalactic war, bro. Like the Spartans are really out there, man. They're just snatching up Americans and making, snatching up Earthlings and turning them into Spartans and putting them in like Spartan suits and are out there fighting whatever it is we're out there fighting. Because no one fights like the humans, boy. I tell you what, Brother Pitney, Uncle DL, it sounds like you agree with Dave Chappelle's take on the issue. And I do. I do agree with Dave Chappelle's take on the issue, man. You know what I mean? Her rights to choose. She has, her body, her choice, as well as his choice. I really believe that. I think that should be the law of the land. And I think if we were to try this law, I think people will be surprised at how many men will stay involved in their child's life. I think they'll be surprised. I think people are out here and they think that just men are just, pumping and dumping. They're just going to run away from it. Maybe the boys will, but I think that the grown men, especially when, okay, you guys meet up, y'all have a child, boom, y'all can't work it out on your own for whatever reason. So you have to go through the family court system. All right, what's the first thing the family court system tells you to do? DNA test. We're going to do a DNA test, right? Dad can waive it if he wants. Hey, because we know the child came from mom. So dad can waive it if he wants. All right, I'm going to waive the DNA test. Fine. You understand you signed this document waiving your DNA test. That means no matter what now, whether you're the biological father or not, you are responsible for this child financially if you choose to stay in the child's life. I understand that. I'm signing a waiver. Bank. Or the guy says, nope, I want a DNA test right away. DNA test comes back. You're not the biological father. Bam, he's out of there. Right now, this scenario involves a child who is less than a year old or something. Like I said, less than 2 years old. It's a baby still. The baby don't really know. You know what I'm saying? So bam, right off rip. That's the law of the land. Dad finds out right away he's not the biological father. He's out of there. Right? He's out of there. If he signs the waiver, and then 2 years, 3 years down the road, finds out he's not the biological father. Oh, well, you signed the waiver, bro. We gave you an opportunity, up front. I think that should be the law. Right? So, okay, he's the biological father. She's the biological mom. All right. So it should be at that point, we're in family court. All right, you guys aren't a couple. You guys were never married. Is all right, 50-50 custody, default. It's in the child's best interest to have equal access to both parents, 50-50 custody. That's it. How y'all gonna do the split? Oh, y'all can't work it out amongst yourselves? Fine. The court will choose for you. 3-2-3, you know what I mean? Or week on, week off, whatever. Since y'all can't get along enough to come up with the custody thing, then the court will decide for you. Fine. It's 50-50 custody. Now, the last thing will be child support. Well, there shouldn't be any child support. If they make about the same amount of money, they have 50-50 custody. What's the support for? Dad has access to the child. Mom has access to the child. It is what it is. They have their custody arrangement. They have the drop off. It is what it is. Now, if you get a situation where one parent or the other makes way more, all right, there might be some child support involved. I don't agree with that, but there might be some child support involved. Like, okay, mom is making $300,000 a year, dad is making $75,000 a year, so mom has to pay dad, $1,000 a month because they feel it's in the child's best interest. I don't agree with that. I don't think that. I mean, so long as both parents can provide the basics for the child, I don't think the child. I don't think one parent should be awarded money just because they make less and the other parent makes more. You know what I mean? So those things will have to be hammered out and worked on. That's how I look at it. They should be worked on, but you know, these are the things that government should do. But the way we do it now, we shouldn't be monetizing children. In my opinion, it shouldn't be disproportionately um, true that women get the child 80% of the time or whatever. It should be 50-50 custody. We should not be using children as a pawn to get more money out of I mean, I think all that stuff is just wrong. I think that's wrong. And this whole thing, if that were the case, like if it were 50-50 default and, moms and dads, men and women got fair shakes, it was just, okay, this is how it works. That 9-month thing, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. It's like, all right, dad, you got to pay, 50% of the birthing cost, which was this much money. Let's say the birthing cost, just making up numbers. Let's say the birthing cost was $800. All right, dad, you're gonna have to pay $400 for the 9 months, the child was, in her stomach or whatever, related costs, whatever that may be. Fine. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But the way that they're doing it is just, I don't know, bro. It just this comes off disingenuous, and this is a political play. They're not trying to, like this part right here when they were like, they can't use federal funding. They should be able to use federal funding to cover expenses related to child support enforcement. If they can't use federal funding, what does that mean? That means that money is going to come out of the guy. It's just going to take more money. That is wrong. Right? The bill supporters could seek a state appropriation to cover those additional costs. House and Senate leaders will hash out final details of the state's next 2-year budget in March. So they're going to try to work that out. For the option opponents, the bill recognition of the unborn child support proposes. I'm sorry, did I read that wrong? The bill's recognition of the unborn for child support purposes goes to the heart of the overreaching issue, right? And this is a Republican state senator, Danny O'Carroll. That's the committee's chairman. And they're going back to that's where life starts. And that's where the obligation to take care of that child should begin. And I think it's fundamental fairness issue that we do this. And this right here, a fundamental fairness issue. They don't care about the fairness. They're fighting. What they want to do is they want to get away. They want to do away with the choice. If we were talking about fundamental fairness, then it would be 50-50 custody splits. Default. No, I mean, you wouldn't even have to have a court, right? It's nothing to do with a judge. Like, this is the law of the land, right? If it's about fairness, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to go through the family court system. And a lot of that money goes to the state. It's ridiculous. It's not about fairness. I'm surprised that his people let this language get out there. It's not about fairness. It's not about what's fair to the child. It's not about what's fair to the mom and dad. Right? This right here is just, I think that's BS, and that's the end of the article. I think that's BS. I mean, Brother Smeebles, from seeing all that is going on nowadays, they're really trying to dehumanize a lot of areas. I wonder how that can be used as a weapon. To me, it's acting like chemical warfare, killing from the inside. Yeah, bro. We'll see how it's going to be used or how it's going to be applied or misapplied. A lot of the laws in America, especially in the family court world, my problem isn't with the laws. My problem is with how the laws are interpreted and how the laws are enacted. You know what I mean? Paid players in demand with the $20 super chat. What's good, fam? Appreciate the super chat, bro. Hey, man, we supposed to be doing the show, bro. I got all your stuff right here, man. Before I read your super chat, I got it, brother Lamont. Yeah, paid. Family law reform list. I got it, man. Time limits, dollar limits, criminal allegations, should be heard in criminal court. Application of the Constitution, no statute of limitations. Bro, I wrote my notes, man. What's up, man? I got all 12 of your bullet points, bro. I'm ready to talk, man. When we gonna do this show, man? Hit me up, man. We're gonna do this show. Because if I'm not mistaken, you got my email, but hit me up on Instagram, bro. Let's do the show, man. Let's do the show, brother. Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. So the super chat, $20 super chat. Thanks again, man. Ultimately, it's a woman's body. So she's the final word. I agree with that, bro. But if a woman can exercise her option, delete a child against a man's wishes, right? Because men have no say. That's true. A man should be allowed to terminate responsibility to the child he does not want. I feel you. I don't think anyone should be forced to be a parent. I don't think we should force women to carry to term. I don't. But I also, just like I believe it, we should not force women to be moms. We should not force dudes to be dads. Right? We should not do it. And if we're going to do it, which I don't think we should, even though I believe that the procedure is absolute murder. I believe that. But if it is the law of the land, if choices are involved, then yeah, I think the guy should have a choice. Financially, I don't want to, for whatever reason, I don't want to do this for whatever reason. And he should not be held financially responsible for that child for 18 years unless he wants to be involved in that child's life. So I agree with you, bro. Now, am I wrong for thinking that? If y'all, you guys are watching this on Team Replay, man, hit me up in the comments. Let me know how y'all think. Let me know what you're thinking. But I agree with players in demand paid. I agree. It is a woman's body, so she has to have the final word. You cannot have half a child, right? But if a woman has the choice, and then you tag, the part in here that I don't necessarily agree with against the man's wishes, and I think you're just making that a point because there are a lot of men out there who will be like really happy, like, okay, we're pregnant, and then he can't do anything about it. She decides she's not going to go through with it. He can't do anything about it. So I think that's why you put that in there, bro. Because a lot of times, it can be against the man's wishes. I mean, sometimes this dude's just like, yeah, cool. You know what I mean? But a lot of times, like, yeah, it can be against the man's wishes. A man should be allowed to terminate responsibility, financial responsibility, right, to a child he does not want. Man, I agree with that, bro. When we going to do the show, man? We got to get you on, man. I want to do a whole show of family court reform, bro. I got the notes right here. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, man, I'm gonna have to do the show without him, but I don't want to, bro. I want you on that show, man. I got all your points right there. Another Don DeMarco for you, bro. Don DeMarco. And I agree, man. There should be choices. If one gender gets the choice, the other gender gets the choice. And this is another one of the things that the red pill gets right. I don't care how you feel about the red pill world or whatever, but they get this one right. There are no rights or privileges that a man has that women don't have, but there are rights and privileges that women have that men do not have. And that goes back to what that Republican senator was talking about with fairness. He's like, I think it's a fundamental fairness issue. Fundamental fairness has no say in none of this, bro. It's not a fundamental fairness issue. Even this dude right here, this Senator Carroll, Danny Carroll, right? He's a Republican state senator in Kentucky. He knows that the situation is jacked up, right? He knows it. He absolutely knows it, right? If you messing around with a woman and you just messing around or whatever, and something happens and bam, she, y'all got, she's pregnant. First thing that pops in that dude's head, because he ain't trying to be with us, the first thing that pops in his head.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
And then he'll say, hey, won't you exercise the option? She's like, nope, my baby, my body, my choice. I'm having it. And guess what? You paying starting today, right? You paying for the first 9 months, and you're gonna pay for the 18 years after it. And I'm gonna take you to court. I'm gonna make your life miserable. There are some people out there like that. Is that the vast majority of women out there? No. I don't believe that's the vast majority of women. I think most women are just like, hey, this is the situation. And, I want to do what's best for my child. And I want you involved. And let's just do the best we can. I think I would say the majority of women are like that. Are there women out there who are just like, they get frustrated? They start out that way. They get frustrated. Now they're mad. They run to the court and it becomes a money grab. Yes. You know what I mean? Are there some women who go to the court because they legit need the money? They can't support themselves and the child and they need the money. So they go through the court system. Yes. There's that too. There's that too. But I believe with Brother Pay, man, players are in demand. I believe in what he is saying because that dude should have a choice. Now, if he chooses to be involved, fine. That financial responsibility comes, but it's also, you're going to have to be dad. You're going to have to be there 50% of the time. I mean, you should have the legal right, the legal status to be with your child half the time. I mean, that's the best you can do, right? If you want more than that, marry her or whatever. You ain't even got to marry her just to say, grow the families, combine y'all incomes if that's what you want to do, but it's y'all choice to do so. That opens up a whole nother can of worms. I tell dudes all the time, like, hey, you get married and it don't work out, man. After 7 years, you're looking at alimony in most states. Alimony. Let's say the child grows up to be 18. It's all right. Y'all stayed together for 18 years to raise the child, but y'all couldn't stand each other. Now it's over. Okay, I'm out of here. Okay, she can hit you up for alimony. So if you do get married, make sure you draw up that contract that reflects what's going on here. Hey, we're gonna get married for the next 18 years. This is what we're gonna do. This is how it's gonna look at the end. This is how much money, I'm gonna pay you to help you get on your feet or whatever, or you might have to pay me to help me get on my feet or whatever. Whatever y'all decide to do, if y'all decide to merge and go into the same home, and it's not all about love and the Disney fairy tale. If y'all just gonna do this for the child, which I think is admirable, make sure you protect yourself with a contract. So when y'all get to the end, y'all already know what it looks like. But if it turns into a movie situation and y'all get to the end of the 18 years, it's like, you know what? I'm just comfortable being with you. And you know what? I'm comfortable being with you. And when you want to stay together, okay, that's your choice. You can tear up that contract or draw up a new one. But I mean, this is the world we live in, man. It ain't all lollipops and candy canes, man. It ain't simple. Primal Studies in the building. What's good, fam? What's good, man? The courts don't actually care about fairness. They just want someone to pay for the kid. Facts. I'm with you on that. They don't care. They don't care. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, man. The family court industry, man. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Brother Pay can tell you all about it. They're getting paid, man. Attorneys are getting paid. Who are the top paid attorneys right now, man? They're in family law. When I was coming up, the top paid attorneys were in criminal law or mergers and acquisitions. Well, it was mergers and acquisitions through the 80s and the first part of the 90s. By the time the mid 90s hit, it was criminal law because that's when the drug thing was going crazy. So the top lawyers in town, the guys who had all the bread, criminal lawyers and Wall Street lawyers. Like, so, the mergers, the acquisitions and all that kind of stuff is always up there. But the criminal stuff is up there. Now, everybody's practicing family law, bro. That's where the money's at. That's where the money's at, bro. The court doesn't care. You're absolutely right about that. Brother Smeebles, I agree to a woman has a choice to her body. But once there is a child inside, she has a responsibility, and the man does too. But if there is a choice of ending, the man should also have a choice too. And that's where I am with it, bro. That's where I am with it. I'm with you, bro. 100%. And a lot of times we had these conversations, and we talk red pill stuff over here, manosphere stuff over here. I'm surprised the ladies aren't in the chat. I'm really surprised the ladies aren't here. I was hoping Miss AKA Lady would jump in. I was hoping I Am the Single One might pop in. But I mean, when men have this conversation, bro, men are about taking care of their kids to the best of their ability, at least. Like, all right, I got kids. I want to, this dude's out there, got 14, 15 kids, you know what I mean? A bunch of baby mamas. And they try their best to stay in their child's life. I know dudes who got pregnant, had kids early, you know what I mean? Before they got out of high school, they were in their teens still, late teens, or, just right out of high school, 18, 19, having kids. And they're like, bro, they trying to take care of their kids. And it's the way the system was set up where women are trying to maximize how much money they can get for their children. And they will have to keep the child away from the father. I think that is absolutely evil, as that's diabolical. It's diabolical. And I'm going to keep my child away from you because I can get the max payout. That parent doesn't care about that child, in my opinion. It's just about the money. And I remember I Am the Single One was on here. We were talking about some dude was paying $30,000 a month or more in child support. And it wasn't Al Pacino, although Al Pacino was paying that much. It was Neil, I think it was Neil Long's ex-husband in Daybreak. I think he was charged to pay like, I don't know, $15,000-$30,000 a month or something like that. And I was like, that's a ridiculous amount of money. And I Am the Single One. She was like, yep, most men say that. I figured you would say that. But a child doesn't need that much money to meet their basic needs. And my thing is this: when you have these extremely wealthy people, you got the 1%ers fighting it out or whatever, and you get these huge child support court orders, I would say in those cases that at least 75% of that money goes into trust for the child. So if you're paying $30,000 a month, 75% of that money should go into trust. My math ain't that good, man. Let me grab my computer real quick. It's like, what is 75% of 30,000 a month? Let me hit clear. 30,000 times 0.75. So $22,500 a month should go into trust. The rest of that money could be used for the child's education or whatever, clothing, whatever. Right? 22. So yeah. So 22.5 minus 22.5. Uh-oh. And minus 22. So that's still like what, $7,500 a month that mom gets to use for the child. That money, that I think that 75% of that money should go into trust when you have those big court, those orders, right, for child support. I think the vast majority of that money should go into trust. And if the parent who's awarded the child support, male or female, whoever it is, mom or dad, if they need more than that, then they should have to go to the trustee and they should have to say, hey, I need money for X. I need money because we want to put little Bobby or little Jenny into a more expensive school. Or I need more money because we're going to hire an au pair, right? You should have to go and justify that. You're getting $7,500 a month, right, to raise the child. That's $7,500 a month on top of the money that you have, right? And remember, the child support is supposed to be half. So when I see those numbers, it's like, oh man, $30,000 a month of child support. Does that mean that they believe that they need $60,000 a month to raise that child? Nah. Nah. When you get, and then that money goes into trust, and when that child is 18, they get access to the trust a little bit at 18. a little bit at 25 and they get the rest when they're 30. I mean, how much money would that be? How much money would that be? 22,500 for 18 years. $22,500 a year times 18 years. Times 18 years. $405,000, and that's without interest or anything like that. That's without adjusting for inflation. That's without interest. It's 405. That's almost $500,000 that would be in that trust for that child. And that's at 18, right? They get access to some of that money so they can start paying, they can go to college or whatever. They can keep that trust going. Just imagine at 18 years old, they will have almost $500,000, like $405,000. And they'll get the rest of all that money by the time they're 30. And by then, you know, who knows how much that would be. And depending on how that money was invested in trust. Think about that. Think about that. That money is being held by some hedge fund dude. That would be a cool, they'll have at least $1 million by the time they're 18 years old. That's for the child. Am I wrong? Y'all tell me if I'm wrong, man. Am I off here? Am I tripping? As they would say in my generation. Am I tripping? Brother Smeebles, I can't see how $360,000 a year is needed to keep a child in good health and clothed. Exactly. I can understand if it were a percentage. If a percentage is used for education and another percentage is used for trust fund, but not just money given to mom. That's fact. That's fact, bro. That's fact. I'm with you on that. I am with you on that. If they get $7,500 a month, it's still $90,000 a year clear, which is top 15% of earners. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%, bro. I'm with you 100%. And again, a lot of people, like when it was I Am the Single One, with Sister I Am the Single One, she was like, oh yeah, you know, most men, they think that's stupid. I think the woman deserves, and that's what it boils down to. And I Am the Single One did not say this, but a lot of women do make this statement. Well, mom deserves the money. It's not about mom. Child support is to support the child, not to support the mother of the child. It's to support the child. Right? What was the name of the football player played for New England, came out of Florida, the murderer, the dude who wound up catching the case, he murdered somebody, I forget his name, tight end. Played New England with Tom Brady and those guys, played with Gronk and them, tight end, really good player. Right? Anyway, he went to prison, got deleted while in prison. You know what I mean? I think it was inmate on inmate crime. His ex-wife, well, his wife, widow, and children was getting child support payments from his estate, which was being run by a company, right? So, and she need, like, I need more money. They were paying her all kind of bread. She's like, I need more money to raise these kids. She was taking that money and buying herself clothes and going out and cars and this and that. It wasn't about the kids. It was about her. And she had to deal with this company. And these people were like, no. Aaron Hernandez, that was his name. Aaron Hernandez. Right. And she was trying to sue the company who was placed in charge of the money and whatnot. And, and that became news. Like, no, we're not going to give you more money. We're giving you this money. Show us where the money is going. And it goes back to what Brother Smeebles was saying and what I was saying, man. If you're paying someone $7,500 a month, which is tax-free in America, if I'm not mistaken, that's still $90,000 a year to raise a child. $90,000 a year. So yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I believe when you get those big child support orders, anything above the reasonable expense to raise a child should go into trust. So even if let's say you're receiving, $3,000 a month in child support, I would say at least 1,000 of that should go into trust. At least 1,000 of that, if not more. Especially if you're dealing with a parent who, let's say the mom is, making money. The mom's making $200,000 a year. Dad's paying $3,000 in child support. How much of that money does mom really need? She can put all $3,000 a month into trust. I mean, how much how much does she need? And then, when the child is grown, they can get that money. I don't understand why that's a thing. You know what I mean? $36,000 a year times 18, $648,000. That's without any interest. You know what I mean? You can just invest that in just the basic stock market. You could probably add at least 10% to that. You can add at least 10% to that. You know what I mean? Without even, I don't know, man. I just think the way we do it, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room to fix the family law system in America. A lot of room. Brother Pitney, like, I'm a proponent of having child support receipts report their expenses to the state and have the need for financial support um, recessed on an annual basis, reassessed on an annual basis. Almost had to grab my glasses on that one, bro. That makes sense. I mean, bro, there's so much of a need to, to update the system, man. Like, we should just trash the current system and make some changes, man. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And they do it all under the guise that is in the child's best interest. It's in the child's best interest that we give a parent $30,000 a month and not even hold that parent's feet to the fire. We're not even going to track the money. 18 years down the road, child's 18 now and ain't got a dime. Ain't got nothing. No financial holdings, no real estate, no nothing. No vehicle. Where's the money, mom? Oh, you can't ask me about that money. That was my money. No, it wasn't your money. That money was the child's. Let the child get something out of it. If it's in the child's best interest, if that's why the money is being paid in the first place, at least put some of that money away so the child can have something when they turn 18. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today, y'all. I wasn't gonna make this a long one. Family law needs some serious reform. Kentucky's going the wrong way, in my opinion. Kentucky's going the wrong way. If Kentucky wants those rules on the books where, we want to charge an additional 9 months of child support, fine. We'll go for that only if there's mandatory DNA testing involved. Let's do that, because right now in America, it is not illegal to lie about paternity. Paternity fraud is not illegal in America. We're seeing case after case. People, there was something on YouTube. Maybe it was on Instagram or X. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was a judge, been married for 60 years, right? And it was the 60th year he discovered that his children weren't his biological children. 60 years. Wait, what do you do about that? Now, in his case, I think he stayed married, was happily married and all that good stuff. But could you imagine? I mean, there's so many dudes out here now that are paying for children that aren't theirs. They've been lied to, either on purpose or the woman just doesn't know. Sometimes it's intentional. They know that's not the father. And sometimes they're like, maybe I think you're the father. That's enough. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying? I smashed 5 dudes that week. So it's a 1/5 chance that you are the dad. But you're only dad that the kids have never known. And then they're doing that DNA test, that 93andMe or whatever it is, the ancestry thing. Come to find out you're not my biological father. What do you do? That guy's been paying child support for 10, 15, 20, 15 years, 18 years. Maybe put the kid through, put his child through college. That's expensive. He thought it was his child. And he has no legal recourse. She's not going to get arrested for that. He can't sue her for that. You could try, but he's not going to win. What do you do? We need that reform. We need family court reform. Brother Smeebles, thinking of it now, all the money from child support should be put into a trust and be managed by a company that looks after the child's interests, and they approve spending to make sure it's used right. That could be the law in America. That could be the law of the land, but dudes got to go out and vote. You gotta find the people who would, make that the law of the land. But men don't get involved in the American political system. I tell folks all the time, like, get involved. Get involved. Don't just sit back and cry about it, man. Get involved. Last good man in Jersey's in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you, bro. We're wrapping up. We're just wrapping up. We're talking about Kentucky's new law. Apparently in Kentucky, they're trying to make it a law that so child support begins at conception. So, after a baby is born, women have up to a year to apply for child support for the 9 months that they were pregnant. That's what they're working on. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. They have a super majority in the House and the Senate in Kentucky. And again, I believe, don't hold me to this, but I believe the governor of Kentucky is a Democrat, but Kentucky is a deep red state. So, yeah, man, we were just chopping it up, talking about that, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. I gotta go make my daughter some turkey burgers. She's having turkey burgers for dinner tonight. But I like Smeebles' idea with the trust. Have the trust also set up as a 501k. Super, I can't pronounce that word. Super annuitation. So it's also able to grow money and benefit the child. Plus, it makes the trustees do the right thing. Yeah, you meant 401k. Yeah, I wasn't sure if y'all have 501k over here in Australia. I know we have 401k here. And that can be done. I mean, there was, you never want the government to do stuff like that. I mean, that would have to be, you have to have probably the private sector get involved. And there's always that the opportunity somebody's going to, rip you off and steal the money. But I'm with you on that, man. There should be laws that take the vast majority of that money, especially in the cases like you get $15,000, $30,000 a month. 75% of that money should be placed in trust, and that trust should be run by a company, that just maybe hired by the state or whatever, that manages that fund. And that they should be growing that fund, nothing too risky, just basic stuff, just growing that fund. Because even if they don't, I mean, that's just a ton of money. Even if you just put the money aside, it's still going to be interest made on that money, even if it just sat in some account somewhere. But now I'm with you, bro. There should be something. And then, whatever the way I would see it, let me see. I'm just sitting here thinking about it now. They should, here in America, they know how much it costs to raise a child from age 0 to 18 anywhere in America. They know the Department of Agriculture tracks it. So let's say you live in an area where the cost of raising a child is, I'm just making up numbers here, guys. I'm just throwing out numbers. Let's say you live in an area where the average or the median cost to raise a child is $1,000 a month. All right. Okay. That's how much it costs to raise a child in this part of the country. All right. And that's where you live based on your zip code. This is so, okay. And you're getting $2,000 in child support. 1,000 of that child support should go into trust for the child. The other 1,000 should be used to raise the child. So wherever it is. So if you're in a part of the country where it's only $800 a month to raise a child, if you're in a part of the country where, it's $2,000 a month to raise a child, wherever you are, anything above that number should go into trust. And keep in mind, child support, I thought child support was the father paying for half of the child's expenses. So anyway, you should take that money, and the rest of that money, anything over and above that number should go into trust. And then kind of like what Brother Smeebles is saying. Right. But last good man in Jersey sounds like they're trying to discourage more terminations. This is exactly what they're trying to do, bro. It's exactly what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. You know, it is what it is. And Brother Smeebles, he's like, yeah, have a capping system so once the monthly payment hits X amount, then this comes into effect. Facts. Facts, man. Facts. That's how I think it should go. And it gives a little nest egg to the child when they turn 18. That money will help them if they want to pursue university or if they want to pursue trade. Maybe they join the military and they want to do that, but that money is there. And then as they get older, they get more and more access. So at 18, they get, they get a little, they get to a little bit of it. They hit 25, they can get to a little bit more. When they get 30, they can get access to all of it. Something like that, which that money could be used to secure a home. That money could be used to pay for grad school. That money could be used to buy a Lamborghini. Like whatever they decide to do with that money is their money. Definitely wouldn't want to buy a Lamborghini. But anyway, if that's what they wanted to do, that's what they would do. So anyway, that's it, guys. I just wanted to throw that out there. Shout out to Jay Swans for even sending me the articles, man. He sent me a couple articles. Shout out to him. Hopefully we'll see some family court reform. Maybe we'll start talking about it. We'll start doing a little hashtag, man, family court reform. Maybe we'll start talking about it, but something definitely needs to be done. And then men need reproduction rights or parental rights or whatever. Men shouldn't be forced to be in the situations, just like women shouldn't be forced to be in the situations. I'm just sitting here thinking it's so messed up, but hey, who knows what's going to happen down the road. I'm here to tell you, this is not helping the Republicans who are trying to get the White House, trying to take the White House. What's going on in Alabama, what's going on in Kentucky is not helping Team Trump. It's just not. People are looking at this. They don't like it. The Republicans have their fringe running their party and they're just running it right into the ground. Which funny, the Democrats should be just destroying Trump, but it's Biden, and people got their problems with Biden because they think he's too old. We talked about that as well. This is going to be a crazy race, man. We'll see what happens. November's far off. We'll see what happens, bro. We got a few more months yet. We'll see what happens. Brother Pitney, excess funds could automatically pour into a 529 savings plan. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Right now, all that money, like again, if all that money is not being spent on the child. If the government's going to get involved in this sort of thing, they should get involved to the extent where they're looking out for the child's best interest, which means, if there's excess child support funds, that stuff should be automatically poured into, like you said, a 529 savings plan or some sort of trust or something like that, depending on the amount and all that. And I think that's in the child's best interest. And they'll have a little nest egg when they turn 18 and they can roll that over into whatever. And think about that. Now, I mean, they'll have their retirement at age 18. And they can just roll that over. And they can maybe 3x, 5x, 10x that by the time they're 50 and they're golden. But, the court doesn't care about the families. The court doesn't care about the kids. The court only cares about getting to the money. Brother Smeebles, there was an insider talking about the fact that they want Kamala Harris out and they know Sleepy Joe is just not there. I'll look for the video and send it to you. I appreciate that, man. There's a lot of people, man. There's a lot of talk about Newsom and Michelle Obama. There's a lot of pressure on the Democrats right now. The polls are rolling in. If you look at the latest polls these days, if the election were tomorrow, Trump would win. Trump would win easily right now, which is a scary thought. You do have to take that with a grain of salt. A lot of people are trolling the pollsters. You never really know what people are going to do when they walk into that polling place. But if you're just looking at the numbers, if you're just looking at the polls, Joe Biden is doing really, really bad. He's losing, according to the polls, he's losing African-American males. Not a lot, but enough. He's losing females. I don't know what to say about that. You know what I mean? Just leave it there. Just leave it there. No one likes Kamala Harris. I can't believe that they even kept her on the ticket. And even Connie Sleepy Joe, bro, it is what it is, man. He looks bad out there, bro. He looks bad. We got someone like Jon Stewart. It's just like, you know what I mean, shaking his head. Like it looks bad, bro. So who knows how it's going to shape up? And then of course Trump has his own legal issues. If Trump gets found guilty at the state level, they're going to throw him in a state jail. They could. Who knows how they're going to handle that? They're going to put a former president in a state institution? I doubt it, but who knows? But the conviction is going to hurt him. A lot of Republicans have said it. They're like, look, if he gets found guilty on some of these counts, that we don't think he's fit to be president if he's found guilty of some of these felonies. They're Republicans. Trumpers are like, they'll vote for him no matter what. But, he needs way more than just a Trump vote. He needs moderate, conservative Republicans, and he's going to have to win over some of the independent vote and some of the moderate Democrats. He's got a long uphill battle. Brother Smeagol's, if Trump gets in, I'll seriously consider moving to the USA. Trump gets in, bro, I'm seriously considering looking for some exit strategies, bro. That's not the guy you want in the White House for a whole bunch of reasons, bro. I'm here to tell you, but y'all got it bad in Australia, so you might want to leave anyway, regardless. But if Trump gets in for a second term, my thing is how you going to get him out? I don't know. And I've said this before. I was talking to some folks. The thing that scares me most about Donald Trump is no one knows what he would do if he were to get into the White House, including Donald Trump himself. No one can tell you what he would do. He can't tell you what he would do if he were to get in there. No one can. And that's a scary thought to me. But we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks you guys for coming and rocking out with me, man. I appreciate you, brothers. This is always, we always had good conversations over here. Tomorrow's Friday, so I won't be doing any shows, but be looking out for some shorts. I'll be definitely putting out some DL shorts and chopping up some stuff. And we got a pretty good lineup next week. We got some good shows coming. And we'll definitely be delving into some more red pill stuff next week. I'm trying to get some more women to come holler at me. And yeah. So I appreciate y'all, man. Peace to you, brother. Smeagol's all the way over there in Australia, man. Like I say, man, what I be reading about Australia, bro, you might want to just move over here anyway, no matter who becomes the president. Special shout out to brothers, Players in the Man with the $20 super chat, bro. Appreciate you, brother. Paid Players in the Man. I appreciate you, fam. And I'm out. I'm done. That's it. That's all we got. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.